this is working. First time I'm using this thing in my car. It's been a long time since I actually did a live, so wanted to go ahead and just as we're all getting ready to go into the new year this weekend, which I can't believe it's going to be 2024, but to tell you the truth, I'm kind of grateful. 2023 was kind of interesting for lots of people. So everybody take your vitamins, stay healthy, because I know there's so many things going around right now. But wanted to jump on here real quick because, you know, me, Mercedes Wallace with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, and also with Cross Country Mortgage, was going through some things for the end of the year, working with a few clients, and started to notice that some of the interest rates came down for some of the home loans. We actually got somebody under a 7, which is, it's a tad bit under, but it's progress, thank God. Also, the other thing was that I've had a lot of people lately asking about credit repair and how do they get themselves ready to be able to buy that home. And I know that right now, a lot of people, you know, the year is beginning, and I know one of the first things that people are going to start looking at is how they could possibly get into a new home. So, with the rates finally coming down, smidgens by smidgens, which I have faith that they continue to do so. Not a huge amount, but, you know, they'll balance themselves out, as, you know, Federal Reserve and all of that tells us. But with regards to getting ready for your home and that credit, one of the first things I always tell all of my clients is go to annualcreditreport.com. You are entitled to one free credit report every year, and you want to go ahead and pull that credit report. You won't get your credit score, of course they're going to charge you for that, but at least you'll be able to see what's on your credit report. So maybe it's been a couple years since you even thought about looking at your credit report. Not sure if you have any credit cards or not, but if you don't, that's another no, because we need to see on your credit report payment history with different types of credit. So like, say for instance, okay, there's credit cards, you have loans, then you have your student loans, which those are always a pain in the butt. But hey, at least you got your education. No one can take that away from you. I tell myself that every day. So the other thing is like your car. There might be like little secured stuff on there. You might have did something like progressive leasing that Best Buy offers to clients to go ahead and get like that iPad or something for Christmas. So those are all different types of credit. And we're not saying go get all of that, but it's good to have a mixture. Maybe 2 or 3 things. So you have a credit card, maybe you have a small little teeny loan that you took out and paid back right away, because that's the key thing, is paying it back right away, because interest rates on anything, you know, that's where it always gets us. So then the other thing is, with regards to that, once you review your credit, say, okay, I'm working on getting the actual credit, I need to show payment history. The other thing you need to do is check the credit report for any kind of errors. Look through it, make sure your name's correct, make sure your addresses are correct, make sure no one was making inquiries on your credit report that shouldn't have made inquiries, because then that's a red flag. You want to make sure that someone's not trying to steal your identity. Now, for instance, some of us who in the past, single mom at one time, you know, went through a lot, and when I went to purchase my first home, had to do like the whole debt consolidation, all that stuff myself, where I learned how you can look at your credit report and say, for instance, there's old charge-offs or accounts that have been on there that haven't been reported for like 7 years. It has to be 7 years. So like, if you look at it today and it's, you know, 12/28 to, you know, 2023 now, this would have to have been last reported 12/28/2016. You can actually write a letter to the credit bureaus asking them to remove it, because legally anything that's 7 years old, it's dead. It's kind of like your restart button, if you know what I mean. So just wanted to give you a couple things to look at, think about, work on, because those are always the first things. Because people are like, well, how do I do this, Mercedes? How do I go ahead? What's the process? So process to get a home, first and foremost, is going to be your credit. And that's where right now with those little tidbits, you can start working on to see, you know, where you're at. The other thing is, with regards to like those of us who have lots of credit cards, people are like, well, I have to wait till I pay off all my credit cards. No, don't pay everything off, because like I said, you need at least a credit card or two to show that payment history, and also the length of your credit history counts towards your whole overall credit score. So we want to make sure that we have that. So like say for instance, us ladies with that Victoria's Secret card, maybe you got $1,000 on there. You go ahead and you try to do a pre-approval, because that's going to be your next step with the lender, and see where you stand. The lender might tell you, hey, I need that card to be at 350, because the other part of your credit report that is a big factor in your score is your credit utilization. So that means the percentage of credit you've used. So like say for instance, you got 3 cards out there, they're all $1,000 each. You maxed them all out, you're at 100% credit use, the usage, and that's bad, unfortunately. So what they like to see is for you to stay about 30% and under on the credit utilization, which I know this past year was rough for some people, where credit cards had to be used for groceries, gas. I even went through that. So I know, but at least this way we have a good idea of what's required, so that you can go ahead and start working on those things and look at what you can do. Now, for some people who have, oh God, like $20,000 worth of, credit cards, things like that, overall credit usage out there, there's debt consolidation companies that can help with lowering the interest rate, getting your payment lowered per month, and they kind of do one payment. Now, these are not, we don't want to look for the ones that do, they cut and they negotiate and cut your payment in, like the overall balance in half. You want to talk to, like, say, Trinity Debt Consolidation, things like that, where they help you, where it's no more late fees, they lower the interest dramatically, no more annual fees, because a lot of these cards will get you where you're like, you're in need of credit, and all of a sudden it's $175 a year annual fee, plus they charge you like $12 a month for a processing fee. What? Why? It's called a ripoff. So you don't want to get yourself into those. And the other thing, guys, I know. There's times where it's like, Lord, how do we pay, our rent, or, put groceries on, food on the table for the kids, etc. And then we start looking at those payday loans and the elastic loans and the mobile loans. Oh my God, those are, let's tell you guys, 150% interest rate, basically. So for $1,000, you're going to end up paying back like $5,000 to $8,000. So these are things, and then depending on how long it takes you to pay it back. So these are all things you want to start looking at and putting together a budget. That's going to be the key thing. I don't know if you're great at Excel, or you just want to get some graphing paper, draw some lines, make some boxes, put out what you're bringing in per month. Or if it's, paid weekly, do it, weekly, how much you make, monthly, bi-weekly, all that lovely stuff. Put another list together of everything you owe, all the creditors, down to, even if it's the subscriptions, because guys, that's a whole other thing. I myself catch myself where it's like, okay, I'll remember to cancel, and then we don't cancel. So we have to really start asking ourselves, do we really need, that Peacock plus NBC plus HBO Max plus Hulu plus this plus that, because they all add up. And before you know it, you're paying just as much as you would have paid with cable. But then again, I don't know, Xfinity's cable's kind of expensive. So, but like I said, these are all things we want to look at. And when you put that budget, you go ahead and put, for instance, with the credit cards, all your debt, go ahead and put the name, your account number, when it's due, how much you pay per month, and then the balance. You want to have that ready. Second sheet, go ahead and then you put out your actual, like, what you're, write it down, what you're actually making. And then each week, each bi-week paycheck, each monthly paycheck, go ahead and, okay, this is rent, this is whatever. Then you're going to get to see what you're left with. When you get to see that on paper, it's huge, because it tells you, oh my God, maybe I'm living, on credit only. And there's many of us who've done it. And like I said, it's not a sin, because we've, there's a lot of people who've gone through situations, medical, especially since COVID, we had people end up in the hospital, can't work, and then they're having to use credit cards to, like I said, groceries, gas, pay some of the bills. So it's totally understandable. But at least this way, like I said, if your ultimate goal is in 2024 is to get a home, and just financial behaviors or financial health period, because without credit you can't do anything. So this would be a nice preparation, nice, something for you to get ready to see overall where you stand financially. Because then don't forget, once we get through all this credit stuff, you're going to have to go to a lender, get your pre-approval. The pre-approval is going to give you what you qualify for your home. And that's where a lot of people, they don't understand. I know back 20 years ago was different. Now, a lot of places, homes, other listing agents, things like that, sellers, they don't want you looking at a house unless you are pre-approved and they know you can actually buy this home. So when you get the pre-approval letter, this is what we're going to base your search off of. We're going to say what area do you want to be, in? What is your dream house like? Well, ideal, the ideal home based within that range. And then we're going to put that range in. So when I say ideal home, also like how many bedrooms, baths, garage, backyard, make your wish list. And it's not a bad thing to put together your little dream goal list right now, which actually a friend of mine and a few, I should say friends, are talking about goal setting, vision boarding, things like that. And these are things that, definitely help because it gives you what you see. You put that up on the wall. You put that where every day, Post-it notes up on the mirror. Trust me, it took me a while. I went through some stuff myself this past, year or two that health-wise, it gets you in a dark place sometimes. And we as individuals need to remember, because COVID isolated us so badly, that there are other people out there like us. There are people who care about us, love us, who want to spend time with us. There are people who, even if they're not your family, they might be your non-blood family, but like they say, at least you got to pick that family. But there are people there, and there's people who are a phone call away, and there's hotlines that are just a phone call away. So definitely, if ever you feel down and out, reach out to somebody. Just put it out there. Everybody, unfortunately, let's be real, puts their whole entire life on Facebook. Guilty. Why not, if you are struggling, go ahead, reach out. I need help today. I'm struggling. And then when you want to look for your comment, make sure it's a comment about, do you need help? Wait for those comments, please. Because I've seen especially my husband's a veteran, and we look at the veteran suicide rates. Well, now it's across the board. And then teenagers even, which I'm like, it breaks my heart. But at least in the financial aspect, let's try to figure out how to make that less of a weight on you so that you can be better prepared and ready for that new home. And also anything else. If you want to get a credit card, if you need to get a loan, if you're trying to get a car even, these are things that will help you. So like I said, first and foremost, pull that credit report from annualcreditreport.com, review it, go through it, see if there's any discrepancies, because there's a dispute letter that you can, and it's real simple. You just write a letter stating that, this account, whatever, make a copy of whatever pages of your credit report. Now remember, there's 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. So when you get that credit report, usually at the end of the credit report, it's going to give you where you can send it to dispute items on your credit. You're going to want to make sure that you send each specific page to each specific credit, bureau, and state, hey, this account number is wrong. My name is spelled wrong. Addresses, maybe there's an address on there that you never lived at, but it's just because sometimes in the public systems, they'll pull names that are similar to yours, addresses, things that might cross match. Or sometimes I see a lot of, dads, it's like, I know you want Junior, or it's the 3rd, the 2nd, the 4th, and they're all the same name. I've seen clients who, stuff from the father's on the son's credit, vice versa, etc. So those are things to keep in mind. And then secondly, like I said, your budget, putting together the list of all the debt, putting together your budget. And then from there, if you did have to write dispute letters, the credit bureaus have 30 days to respond to you. If they don't respond to you within 30 days, they have to legally take that off your report. So these are just little tidbits of things. Now, if you've never had a credit card or you're looking to build your credit for the first time, best companies, Capital One, Discover, Premier. Those 3 companies. Premier unfortunately has some fees, so if you can get approved with Capital One and Discover first, your best bet. But those report within 30 days of you getting the card. that you at least have a good history. And that's even if you haven't used it yet. And then after that, if you really don't want credit, because I know some people who are against it, which is probably a good thing, just use it for gas. Pay it off right away. You know, use it to get a cup of coffee. Pay it off right away. Because then it's building your history. It's building your payment history. It shows them that you're good at paying back, and that's what they're looking for. Overall, any creditor, like for the home, cars, things like that. Now, with speaking of vehicles, if you're going to go try to get a car before you get a house, I'm going to tell you right now, inquiries, credit pulls will bring down your credit score. Now with dealers, and I have friends who work for dealers, nothing against it, but they're going to look for the best deal for you possible loan-wise, which means you're going to probably get anywhere from 4 to 10 credit pulls when you go to an auto dealership. It's going to bring down your score quite a bit, and then you're going to have to wait, rebuild it, things like that, a month or two, whatever the case may be. But just to give you an idea, and if you guys ever have questions, you can always reach out to me, either here on Facebook, Messenger, which sometimes, you know, it doesn't ding me right away, so give me at least 24, 48 hours to get back to you. Otherwise, you can always text me, give me a call. Definitely leave a message so I can get back to you, 773-780-9602. And then, like I said, after we go through all this process, your key thing is going to be the pre-approval. And then once we get through the pre-approval, one of the things you have to keep in mind is, let's give you an example, down payments. A lot of people are like, well, what about down payment assistance? Those depend on number of people in your family, how much income you make, things like that. So there might be a program that fits for you, or there might not be a program for you. If you're like, for instance, a single person making $70,000 a year with no, dependents, might not be that easy. But where there's a will, there's a way. We try to find things that help. Be it seller credits, things like that, all depending on how it goes with the sellers, buyers, listing agents, things like that. So there's that. But keep in mind, you also need to save, to have, just in case you can't get those down payment programs or assistance with closing costs, things like that, money in the bank. So $100,000 home, if you're FHA, 3.5%, $3,500. And then depending on where you're closing at, Illinois, it's more expensive to close, anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 would be your closing cost. Indiana, about $4,500, I want to say, on our worst case scenario, because you have title fees, title search, all those lovely things that take place. So you want to keep that in mind. So you figure Indiana would be, like I said, your $3,500 down payment, your $4,500 down, so at least $8,000 just right off the bat that you need to have on hand. And then don't forget, guys, there's inspection fees, and I know that a lot of people like to bypass inspections. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe unfortunately for some people, but for me, I'm a paranoid mom, let's put it that way. So I treat my clients, and they actually do become like my extended family. So when we're in a deal, I want you to get an inspection, because inspection is going to let us know at least the main things. Let's not nitpick. Older homes, it's like having a used car. You don't know what you got until you're in it. We don't want you to have the movie Money Pit. If anybody ever seen that, I'm showing my age. Watch that. It's funny, but we're not going to say that it's going to happen to you with the home. But we want to make sure that no big holes in the roof, no, huge leaks, no major water in the basement, no mold, no huge electrical problems. We don't want the furnace to explode. And I'm just being a little bit on the drastic side there, but things like that are going to be big ticket items, where when you move in the home, we don't want you to have to look into getting $20,000, $30,000 if you don't have that kind of money. So that's why for me, I'd rather you pay $375, $400 for an inspection and know that if there's something huge wrong with the house, rather than me turn on the TV and see that there was an electrical fire or something, and my heart would break because I couldn't handle that. You guys mean the world to me, everybody. I always believe in treating others the way you should be treated, and just love everyone, if you know what I mean. So those are another expense that you'll have to put aside for is the inspection. Then you have your appraisal. Appraisals vary. Size of home, location of home, the lenders, appraisal companies. So you could anywhere from $500 to $750, depending on, like I said, size of home, things like that. These are little things that we need to keep in mind keep track of, and write it out. I mean, I know this is live. I don't know if I did really give you information that you feel is helpful to you. I hope it is. But it's something that you could replay and then just take notes. Like I said, number 1, annualcreditreport.com. Number 2, print out this report. Make sure. And number 3, go through it for discrepancies. 4, are there charge-offs, late things? And then if there are things that are just late, maybe now, like I said, you could look into a debt consolidation company, or you could actually start calling some of these creditors and see if there's any way that they might be able to take off some late fees, help, you figure out, payments at a lower rate, push out the due date so that helps, things like that. And then after that, like I said, make sure keep an eye on your income. How much are you putting away for your down payment? Fees, things like that, any last minute expenses you're going to want to, if you want a moving truck, things like that. These are all things you want to kind of write it down and say, okay, separate savings for this, separate checking for that, because it helps. And then my people who love to hide like 10 to 70 grand in the house, the bank is not going to steal your money. Not yet. At least not. I hope not. They don't ever crash. But for majority of the time that I've been doing this and all my life, that's why there's insurance on certain banks, things like that. You need to have your money in a bank account, and it has to be seasoned. And by seasoned, we mean it's got to be in there at least 30 to 90 days, depending on the lender, your program, things like that. So you can't deposit like $50,000 in cash last minute, because the government's going to ask, where did you get this money? And not that they're going to tax it, you're going to use it for your home, but it just brings up red flags, questions, and that's usually how government catches embezzlements, things like that. So we just want to make sure that you guys, know that process. And if you ever have a question, like I said, reach out. I'm more than happy to go over that with you. And then, like I said, the lender, pre-approval, putting together your wish list in the house. And then after we go through all that, I get you on an automated system. We start sending you listings, and then we start setting up appointments to go see houses. So it's kind of how it goes. I know it's a lot at one time, but like I said, going into the new year, I wanted to be able to give that information to you so you guys can start getting ready, prepping yourself. And like I said, again, any questions, concerns, give me a call, text, reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. But the number again is 773-780-9602. And for family or friends who need Spanish speaking, si habla español, so si necesitan ayuda, que me llaman. The other thing is, like I said, a lending aspect. I do mortgages now too, in addition to my wonderful real estate at Better Homes and Gardens. So if you need help with that, I can guide you with that process. The other thing is, I really want to wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful 2024 with nothing but blessings, great health, prosperity, productivity. May all your dreams come true. And like I said, just wishing you all the best and hoping that this was information that helped. So take care. Have a wonderful, blessed day.